It is permitted by the National Electrical Code to run both motor wiring and control wiring within the same conduit. National Electrical Code Article 300.3c specifically addresses this scenario. Exception number 2 of this article states that conductors of different systems, circuits, and voltages are allowed to occupy the same raceway, enclosure, or cable, provided they are adequately separated. The separation requirement can be satisfied in a couple of ways. Firstly, the insulation on the individual wires themselves can serve as the necessary barrier. Standard wire insulation is typically sufficient to meet this requirement, ensuring that the different voltage levels and circuit types do not create a hazard. Secondly, a physical barrier within the conduit or enclosure can also be used. This could be a divider or partition that physically separates the motor conductors from the control conductors. This method is particularly useful when dealing with higher voltage differentials or when additional safety measures are desired. To further elaborate, the NEC allowance for combining motor and control wiring in the same conduit aims to streamline installations and reduce material costs. By using a single conduit for multiple purposes, electricians can minimize the amount of conduit needed, which in turn lowers both material and labor expenses. However, it is crucial to ensure that all applicable requirements of the NEC are met to maintain safety and code compliance. These requirements include proper wire sizing, appropriate overcurrent protection, and adherence to the conduit fill limitations specified in the NEC. Wire sizing is critical to ensure that each conductor can safely carry its intended current without overheating. The NEC provides tables and guidelines for determining the appropriate wire size based on the ampacity requirements of the circuit. Overcurrent protection, such as circuit breakers or fuses, is essential to protect the conductors from excessive current flow, which could lead to damage or fire. The NEC specifies the maximum allowable overcurrent protection for various conductor sizes and applications. Conduit fill limitations are in place to prevent overcrowding of conductors within the conduit, which can lead to overheating and insulation damage. The NEC provides tables that specify the maximum number of conductors of a given size that can be installed in a particular size of conduit. In addition to these general requirements, there may be specific requirements for motor circuits and control circuits that must be taken into account. For example, motor circuits typically require larger conductors and higher ampacity ratings than control circuits. Control circuits may have specific requirements for overcurrent protection and grounding. It's very important to consult the relevant articles of the NEC, such as Article 430 for motor circuits and Article 725 for control circuits, to ensure that all applicable requirements are met. When installing motor and control wiring in the same conduit, it is also important to consider the potential for electromagnetic interference, or EMI. Motor circuits can generate significant EMI, which can interfere with the operation of sensitive control circuits. To minimize EMI, it is recommended to use shielded cables for control circuits and to maintain adequate separation between motor and control conductors within the conduit. Grounding is another crucial aspect of electrical safety that must be carefully considered when installing motor and control wiring. Proper grounding ensures that any fault current will safely return to the source, tripping the overcurrent protection device and preventing electrical shock. The NEC specifies the requirements for grounding motor circuits and control circuits, and it is essential to follow these requirements to ensure a safe and reliable installation. Consider the physical installation of the conduit itself. The NEC outlines requirements for conduit support, bending radius, and protection from physical damage. Ensuring that the conduit is properly supported and protected will help to prevent damage to the conductors and maintain the integrity of the electrical system. The selection of appropriate conduit type is also essential. The NEC recognizes various types of conduit, such as rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and flexible metal conduit, each with its own set of applications and limitations. Choosing the right type of conduit for the specific installation environment will help to ensure that the conductors are adequately protected. The NEC also addresses the identification of conductors. Color coding is commonly used to identify different conductors, such as phase conductors, neutral conductors, and grounding conductors. Following the NEC color coding requirements will help to prevent confusion and ensure that the electrical system is properly wired. Consider voltage drop when designing motor and control circuits. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its resistance. Excessive voltage drop can cause motors to operate inefficiently or fail to start, and it can also cause control circuits to malfunction. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop and specifies the maximum allowable voltage drop for various types of circuits. Furthermore, surge protection is important, especially for sensitive control circuits. Surges, or transient overvoltages, can damage electronic equipment and disrupt the operation of control systems. Surge protective devices, or SPDs, can be installed to protect against surges and ensure the reliable operation of control circuits. Also consider the impact of harmonics on motor and control circuits. Harmonics are distortions in the sinusoidal waveform of alternating current, and they can be generated by nonlinear laws such as electronic equipment and variable frequency drives. Harmonics can cause overheating of conductors and equipment, and they can also interfere with the operation of control circuits. Mitigation techniques, such as the use of harmonic filters, can be employed to reduce the impact of harmonics. Regularly inspect and maintain motor and control wiring systems. Periodic inspections can help to identify potential problems such as loose connections, damaged insulation, and corroded components. Regular maintenance, such as tightening connections and cleaning components, can help to prevent failures and extend the life of the electrical system. Furthermore, arc flash hazards, which are dangerous electrical explosions that can occur when working on energized electrical equipment, need to be kept in mind. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be labeled with arc flash hazard warnings, and it also requires that qualified personnel use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, when working on or near energized equipment. In general, when working with electrical systems, it is essential to follow all applicable safety procedures and to use appropriate tools and equipment. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take precautions to prevent electrical shock and other hazards. If you are not a qualified electrician, it is best to leave electrical work to the professionals. Remember, safety always comes first. National Electrical Code Article 110.3b requires that all equipment be installed and used in accordance with the instructions included in the listing or labeling. This means you have to follow manufacturer's instructions. For example, if a motor requires a specific type of overload protection, it must be installed as specified. Furthermore, all work needs to be done in a neat and workmanlike manner according to NEC 110.12. Exposed runs of cables or raceways have to closely follow the surface of the building or running boards. Some jurisdictions also have local amendments to the NEC, so be sure to check with the local authority having jurisdiction, or ODJ, to verify. For example, some cities might require more stringent grounding requirements or have restrictions on the types of conduit that can be used. Keep detailed documentation of all electrical work. This includes circuit diagrams, panel schedules, and equipment specifications. Accurate documentation can be invaluable for troubleshooting and maintenance. It also assists future electricians or technicians who may need to work on the system. Make sure you consider future expansion when designing electrical systems. Plan for additional capacity to accommodate future loads. This may involve installing larger conduits or panels than are currently needed. Consider energy efficiency when designing electrical systems. Use energy-efficient motors and lighting, and implement control strategies to minimize energy consumption. Energy efficiency not only reduces operating costs but also helps to conserve resources. Train all personnel who will be working on or near electrical equipment. Proper training is essential to ensure that personnel are aware of the hazards involved and know how to work safely. Training should cover topics such as electrical safety, lockout/tagout procedures, and the use of personal protective equipment. Comply with all applicable environmental regulations when installing and maintaining electrical systems. This includes proper disposal of waste materials and preventing pollution. Electrical work can have a significant impact on the environment, and it is important to minimize that impact. Finally, remember that the National Electrical Code is updated regularly, so it is important to stay current with the latest requirements. The NEC is revised every 3 years, and it is essential to use the latest edition to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and code compliant. It is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that all applicable requirements are met and that the electrical system is safe and reliable.